If you guys are anything like me, then I'm pretty sure at least once or twice in your life, you guys have thought about the concept of doing things over again, getting the chance to go back to when you were a kid and having all of the memories and experiences that you've had in your life and being able to use that to your advantage. Well, what would happen if we gave that exact same concept to Naruto and we actually let him live through what it would be like to have some sort of freaky event day where he goes back with all of his memories and literally has to live his entire life once again, knowing everything that's already going to happen? How would this affect the Naruto timeline, and will you guys even like this story? Well, those are two what ifs that we're going to both have to wait and see what will happen. That said though, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys go on to enjoy today's video, then definitely make sure to slap up that like button so it lets me know, and also share the video with a friend and leave a comment, seeing as I'm gonna be responding to you guys as much as I can. That said, enjoy.
Hey Ross, sauce it up.
When making this story, a lot of things had to be taken into consideration, with one of them being, how is Naruto going to even go back and be reborn? And I was thinking, should I just say it's plot, or should I actually give them a reasonable reason? And then I started thinking about it. Naruto filler is a very powerful concept. If we just made one single episode canon, we could change everything in the story and make this what if actually work. And the way that we're going to be going about this is essentially Naruto, the episode where there is a filler genie, right? And this genie would be in a bottle that the entirety of the rookies would actually be fighting over, right? Naruto this time around is going to end up with the bottle at the end, rub the lamp, and once the genie would finally emerge, Naruto would look at it with a smirk on his face, thinking about what to wish for, right? We would close in on a scene between Sakura trying to lunge in and wish for Sasuke to love her back, but it just doesn't happen. And instead, Naruto was able to get his wish and ask the genie to essentially let him relive his life when all is said and done. And the genie just goes very well, right? And it just disappears. And Sakura would just get there and, hit Naruto over the head, being like, Naruto, what did you wish for, right? Naruto would have like this devious smirk on his face, and he would just tell Sakura that it's nothing important, right? And Sakura would just kind of have to live with the idea that she didn't get to wish for her precious Sasuke-kun, but little does she know, they end up together in the end. That said though, Naruto would live the rest of his life out just like normal, and eventually he would get to an age where he pretty much just dies to the common ninja sickness that everybody ends up getting eventually. He ends up having to watch his son and his adopted son Kawaki go to battle, and the events of Boruto still happen, with Naruto having a relatively peaceful death in the end. And once all would be said and done, and Naruto would breathe his final breath, Naruto would have a smile on his face on his deathbed. And finally, he would wake up. He would begin seeing everything blurry. But it's finally when everything kicks in. Naruto will see a man with a white mask over him. And Naruto would be wondering what exactly this is, because keep in mind, Naruto has just been reborn with all of his memories, powers, and sentience that he has in the original. And Naruto would not be able to do anything because keep in mind, the dude is literally a newborn baby. So on the day of the incident, Naruto will be 100% powerless to do anything, to help save his father, to help save his mother, to talk to Kurama and get him out of doing what he was about to do. Naruto would physically have to actually see what Kurama did to his parents in front of him the day that he was born. And Naruto would have to bear witness to the death of his father and, have to watch as Hiruzen would pick him up and say that he will be taking care of Naruto, right? What would happen here is Naruto would have no control over anything, and this would kind of just give Naruto a bit of a more keen understanding on what really happened that night, right? Now, Naruto having this understanding is actually going to be changing things a lot, because as we all know, Naruto in this version of the storyline is essentially going to be fourth wall breaking, considering that he knows what happens in the story. It's like Naruto knows everything. It's like Naruto knows the future, the past, the present, because he just does. And so Naruto was able to essentially grow up, and for the first year of his life, Naruto would actually just have to live life as a baby, knowing that he knows about Hiruzen's death, knowing that he knows what the villagers will say about him in a couple years' time, knowing that he's going to have to relive those first horrible years of his life where everybody hated him. But Naruto thinks, not this time. It's not happening again, right? And I definitely see Naruto having a bit of PTSD when it comes to this certain moment, and when it comes to what exactly he's going to try to do to avoid these circumstances from actually taking place once again. And I think that Naruto this time around, the irrational fear inside of his head would actually cause him to, once he turns around the age of 4 years old, finally do something about the circumstances that he's in. After thinking and contemplating for so many years about what he should do, and actually taking the time and energy to actually study up on the things that he didn't study up on when he was alive on his previous life, and actually train way earlier than anybody would have expected. Naruto would do this because of the simple fact that he wants his body to be capable of at least keeping up with a small percentage of the power that he truly has inside of him. Not to mention that because Naruto has his previous memories and does know how to access Kurama via the mindscape, Naruto would actually be able to talk to Kurama and let him know that he is Naruto and that he actually knows what his true name is. He knows about the Sage of the Six Paths, he knows about the plans of the Akatsuki, and he knows overall a lot of things that Kurama would actually be completely shocked about. This is something that Kurama would have never actually expected from a kid, much less some like 2-year-old brat that somehow managed to get inside of his domain. Naruto would tell him that he knows how he feels, he knows the rage, and that someday Naruto will help Kurama out with this feeling, right? And Kurama would not know exactly how to take this, considering what would you guys do if some baby started telling you guys pretty much everything and anything you guys want to hear? Like, that'd be crazy. But eventually Naruto would get to the age of 4 years old, and it would be around this point in time where Naruto would remember that around this time, Hiruzen would actually be letting Naruto live on his own. And that was actually one of the worst things that could have possibly happened for Naruto, considering the dude is a little kid. Like, he doesn't want to live by himself, you know what I mean? So that leaves Naruto with essentially one choice. He can either live by himself once again and go through the same hardships that he would have had to endure in the original, or Naruto can do something about it and actually take out one of the biggest pests in the Naruto series known to date, Danzo. Now, how is this actually going to work? Well, I see this happening one of two ways. Number one, Naruto could either go to Hiruzen and talk to him about the things that Danzo has had going on, and eventually lead Danzo to pretty much be taken out by Hiruzen. However, that would not be fast enough for Naruto not to have to deal with the consequences of being the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. So what does Naruto do? Well, I'm going to put it simple for you guys. He takes care of the problem, if that makes sense. Because Naruto this time around is not going to be willing to deal with this. So Naruto decides to pretty much exit the premises of Hiruzen's office and stuff like that. And he decides that he's just going to go handle Danzo himself. He believes that at the current age that he's at, his body must be able to muster just enough power to defeat Danzo and anybody else who would be willing to get in his way. So what does Naruto do? Naruto decides to march down onto Danzo's Anbu, and when he arrives, he would begin to play silly, act as if he has no idea where he's at, and Danzo would finally get a hold of Naruto. And once Danzo finally begins to speak to him, he would tell him things that Naruto, or a kid Naruto, would have loved to hear, telling him, giving him reassurance, telling him that he could always have a home here with the Anbu, and that he'll train him, he'll make him a weapon, he'll be feared, he'll be powerful. Naruto, listening to all of this, would take it all in, but in the back of his mind, he would know what Danzo's truly trying to do. He wants to turn Naruto into his own personal weapon, and he knows how that would result all too well. So what does Naruto do? Naruto finally makes it to a room where he can be one-on-one with Danzo, and as soon as he's there, he would take a seat, look to Danzo and say, "Danzo, I'm not some kid that you can fool with some silly talk. I'm not somebody that you can easily get to be a pawn under your foot. I'm not going to be a weapon for destruction underneath you, Danzo. And that Sharingan of yours isn't going to be doing you any good when it comes to manipulation. Danzo, once he hears this, would say, "What? Naruto, what is the meaning of this?" And Naruto would say, "I'm not some kid that you can easily fool. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. And someday in the future, I'll become the 7th Hokage." With Danzo being like, "What? 7th?" As Naruto would say, "I know all about the things that you've had going on in the Leaf Village far too well. The death of Itachi, the fact that many of the Uchiha will end up having to get massacred very, very soon because of you. I know a lot of things that end up happening in the future, and you're the main reason that it all does end up happening. You ended up ruining my life sometime in the future, and you had planned to leak me as the Nine-Tailed Jinchuriki pretty soon, didn't you? Well, this time around, I can actually do something about it." Naruto would snap instantly into his KCM1 mode, as Danzo would be absolutely shocked, just wondering how in the world some pipsqueak could muster this much power. How does he have access to the power of the Nine-Tails so early? This is something that not even the wife of Hashirama would have had, not even Kushina. How is this brat capable of mustering such power? Danzo would be wondering to himself. And Naruto would not be easing up on Danzo whatsoever. Naruto's not giving anything up, and Naruto would decide that he would instantly have to end this battle, creating a small Rasengan and shoving it into the stomach of Danzo to take him out, and then slashing at him with a kunai. Naruto, knowing of the abilities of Izanagi, would be ready for Danzo's comeback when it would eventually happen, and Naruto would proceed to kill Danzo over and over and over until Danzo would finally run out of Sharingans, and eventually this would finally lead to a bunch of Anbus making it to the scene. Naruto, not wanting to be too cruel, would decide to actually knock the Anbus out instead of actually killing them. And once enough commotion would be made, eventually more and more ninjas would arrive, with Hiruzen finally arriving on scene and looking at Naruto, asking him what the meaning of this is, right? Naruto would look to Hiruzen and tell him that he was simply handling a problem, and that everybody here who has a problem with it could talk about it with him, right? And it would be at this moment that Hiruzen would kind of be like, "Naruto, calm yourself." And Naruto would say, "Make me." As from here, he would kind of snap into an even more powerful stage, accessing Sage mode on top of it, going into KCM2 with, Hiruzen being absolutely stunned, because Naruto not only has access to KCM2, but it's the perfected 6-path Sage mode version, because keep in mind, he was reborn with all his powers and abilities. And one thing that Naruto knows not to touch or gain access to whatsoever would be the abilities of Kurama's Baryon mode, something that Naruto knows not to tap into unless absolutely necessary. But you know what? Naruto will be fine with that, because he won't need the abilities of Baryon mode, because this time Naruto will be ready for Toneri, he'll be ready for Kaguya, he'll be ready for Ishiki, he'll be ready for his son Boruto being born, his daughter Himawari, and this time, most important of all, ladies and gentlemen, Naruto will actually be there for his Hokage ceremony. He's not going to get knocked out by Himawari, sorry. I completely lost my train of thought, but he's not going to be knocked out by his daughter this time around, and there is no way in the world that Naruto's going to be missing his ceremony again. Not happening in any single world in the world. But regardless though, what ends up happening here is essentially that Hiruzen, once seeing the power of Naruto, would kind of tremble, because this is on the likes of something that he has never experienced before, and many of the ninjas that would be around would not even fathom the levels of chakra that Naruto is able to muster at just the age of 4. Hiruzen would be thinking that Minato gave birth to a literal god, and Hiruzen would simply stand down immediately. Every single man that was there would put their weapons down and not even look to Naruto with anger. Naruto would then look to Hiruzen and tell him that they need to talk. And from here, Naruto would go over to the office of Hiruzen, where he would begin to explain everything, telling Hiruzen that in a couple years time, Hiruzen will die to the hands of Orochimaru. That because of his foolish arrogance and not being able to take out Orochimaru, the love that he has for his students, his own student would be the one who ends up putting an end to his life. Hiruzen would take this in with a lot of harshness, and he would say, I knew someday something like that would happen. Followed by Naruto stating, and also pretty soon Jiraiya is actually going to be returning to the village with info on an organization that is going to be called the Akatsuki. They're going to be after the tailed beasts, and in the future I was one of the tailed beasts that they actually went after. The timeline has actually not changed too much from when I was born to now, and I'm hoping that nothing does change too drastically. In the future, things pan out well, and eventually we get everything right. World peace would be achieved once I defeat Madara in the 4th Great Shinobi World War. And Hiruzen would say, but Madara's... Naruto would say, I know, but he comes back. And trust me, his power is truly terrifying. But this time around, we'll be ready. And this time around, we'll make sure to do things right. For now, I'm going to act the same knuckle-headed ninja that I always was in the original, and this time around I get to not have to deal with the hatred of the villagers. Danzo is set to a couple of years from now, a couple of weeks from now, end up telling the villagers about the fact that I'm the Ninetales. This leads to my childhood being almost impossible to get through, but I managed. And this time around, I saved myself from that, as well as the entirety of the Uchiha clan from getting massacred due to one of Danzo's orders. He stops the plans of Shisui and Itachi to use Kuro and Matsukami on their father. Once the events of the Ninetales attack happen, they ended up having resentment towards the village for sending them to the outskirts of the village. So Hiruzen, I'm telling you now, if there's one thing that you need to change as a Kage as of this moment, is letting the Uchiha back and giving them a formal apology for what had happened during the night of the Ninetales incident. That's the best step forward for now. I'll tell you the rest of the other details later, but that's pretty much the gist of what happens in the next 20 years. And Hiruzen would say, that's a lot to take in, Naruto, but very well. Seeing as you are from the future and your power truly is magnificent, there's no real reason for me to doubt you. So I will do as you say. And from here, Hiruzen would go over to the Uchiha clan and pretty much tell them that he's sorry for what had ended up happening, and pretty much taking them back to where they used to live, making the Uchiha police force a much more prominent force in the Leaf Village, and giving Fugaku a higher role of power amongst the village, giving him an elder role so that he could actually get his sense in when it comes to anything that would include the Uchiha clan in some time in the future. This means that Itachi and Shisui wouldn't have to deal with the hardships they would in the future, and when it comes to Naruto's childhood, Naruto gets to be a kid again. He gets to just act like a little goofball once more, and this time around people don't hate him. Naruto gets to experience a childhood, and for now, this is all Naruto will be focused on, because from what we all know and from what we saw from Naruto's backstory, it wasn't a pleasant one. And if he has the chance to be a kid again, have friends, and actually be liked by others, well, Naruto's gonna take it. He's already lived through an era of world peace, but his childhood was pretty much lost to the hands of Danzo when he decided to come out and point the hatred of the village onto him. But now, Naruto gets to go to the shopkeepers and say his name Naruto without fear of it. Now Naruto gets to be raised by Hiruzen, and people would give him respect because of the fact that he is somewhat the adopted grandchild of Hiruzen, Lord Third. It would be an incredible childhood for Naruto to live through, and Naruto would make sure that during his early years he would get as much contact with Hinata as possible, seeing as he misses her. She died about 10 years before he did, and Naruto finally gets the chance to hang out with her as a kid and make her more powerful than she would have been in the original via having her train and giving her more motivation to do things on her own. Naruto and Hinata would have a very friendly platonic relationship, and Naruto would get to experience being friends with Sasuke without having it be as cold as it would have been in the original. Naruto would know what it feels like to have a couple of girls actually fawn over him, and know what it feels like to have a bunch of people in the class actually laugh at his jokes and not look at him as some demon child. Naruto would feel like this is the best part. And truly, with the life that Naruto's already lived, it genuinely might be. This is what Naruto has always dreamed of. But Naruto knows that the mission's not done and that he'll only get to relive this once. Naruto would wonder to himself why exactly this happens when finally it hits. The genie lamp. The wish. It worked. Him going back and reliving his life actually did something. That genie's magic actually gave him the opportunity to live his life with all the same memories and powers that he would have gained in the original timeline. Naruto would look up to the sky and thank his lucky stars for the fact that he got the chance to do this. And now, Naruto would enter the classroom with a smile on his face as everybody would greet him, and Iruka would say, Naruto, take a seat. As the class would start, Naruto would crack jokes in the back of the classroom, with his entire classmates laughing at his jokes and calling him funny, telling him that, that he should sit next to them, and that he should, pretty much hang out with them during recess, asking him for help with training and stuff like that. And Naruto would be loving it, honestly. Naruto would think that this is the best. And eventually we would get to a point in time where the graduation day would be right around the corner, and Naruto knows exactly who is going to be on his team. It's going to be that of Kakashi, Sakura, and Sasuke, his best friend. And current best friend right now as well, seeing as Naruto knows exactly what buttons to press on Sasuke and exactly what Sasuke would like when it comes to a best friend. Naruto would not be the strongest one in the classroom, and he would still give that role to Sasuke via not exactly showing his full power, so that Sasuke could feel more powerful, so that Sasuke could be more confident, so that Sasuke could still be the way that he would end up in the original. Still being that cocky little prick that Naruto knows and loves. But regardless of that, ladies and gentlemen, this is when Kakashi would finally enter the classroom, and he would look to the Team 7 as he would tell them all to meet him on the top of the roof for introductions. Everybody would make their way up there, and Sasuke's introduction would be a lot different than in the original. He would say that his dream is to become the Hokage. Naruto would state that his dream is also to become the Hokage. They would both smirk as they would chuckle and look at each other with this look in their eyes. And Kakashi would know exactly what that look is saying. That's the look of, not if I become Kage first, right? Kakashi would smile, thinking that these kids are definitely going to be making a great team, and Kakashi hasn't been informed of the fact that Naruto comes from, well, the future. So he has no idea of Naruto's power quite yet, and nor does anybody else except for Hiruzen and some of the Anbu members who were there, which would have had a memory erasure jutsu placed on them so they would not be able to speak on what had happened that day. That said though, ladies and gentlemen, that will be it for part 1. And if you guys actually ended up liking this, then definitely make sure to slap up that like button, seeing as the goal for today's video is going to be 1,000 likes. Once we hit that, I'll definitely be making sure to come out with a part 2, and I'll be reading all of your comments seriously for the first 10 hours of this video going up. So I'll be responding to you guys. So if there's anything that you guys want to tell me or anything that you guys want to, point out in the video that I got wrong, definitely make sure to do so I can correct it in the future part. And when it comes to, if you're subscribed, maybe subscribe to your boy on another account, help your boy out. No, I'm totally kidding about the last part. But seriously though, I hope you guys go on to have an amazing day. It has been your boy Xehther, and I am out. Peace.